And we're live from the Whiskey Niner One studio in Fayetteville, North Carolina. This is Doc's Boneyard, and today I have a special guest. Yes, he's a special friend of mine, and well, he rides the short bus, but we are not going to cast any dispersions here. We love everyone on this show. Mr. Shannon Book from Texas Way. How you doing today, sir?
Good, brother. Good. How are you?
Man, you know what? I'm so happy I quit shitting out acorns and peanuts. Life is good now.
No way, bro. Like you're
Yeah,
done with
what?
the whole cold thing? That's
Oh
cool.
yeah, oh yeah. It's
No
awesome,
more
man.
making diamonds for you, huh?
No more making diamonds, man. I
I'm
am
a
good.
fan. I'm a fan. And you know it's bad when you got two docs sitting
Yeah,
on
yeah.
on a
It's
podcast with a cup of coffee. May or may not have bourbon in it. Mine doesn't, but yours probably
may or
does.
may not. Hey,
Mine used to, but I've been sober for almost 4 years.
all right. So I'm going to throw out the legal disclaimer that anything said on this show represents these two idiots behind the microphone that are left unsupervised, and we make no apologies for what comes out.
Thanks.
So, Mr. Shannon Book, what is your story, brother? Tell
Bro,
me. Tell the people out
I
there who
mean, it
you
depends
is.
on where, dude. Listen, I'll say this: it depends on where you want me to start. So I guess we'll
Hmm.
start at the beginning.
Okay.
So from a little podunk town in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, called Hazel Green, aka Hazel Patch, Hazel Green, however you want to put that. Um, and I grew up, you know, I grew up a little simple kid in the middle of nowhere. My grandfather, when I was very young, my grandfather owned one of the only department stores in our little hometown called London. Well, the big town was called London.
I
Where we
gotcha.
lived outside of town, it was called Hazel Green. But in London, the big city of London, my grandfather owned a place called John's Discount, and I mean, he employed the whole family, most of the family, friends, and stuff. And we just, and then of course, Walmart happens, and my grandfather's store used to compete with Kmart.
No way.
Absolutely,
What?
absolutely, absolutely, because he always bought brand name stuff. What my granddad John Book was so good about was purchasing and marketing. So he would purchase things, and this is like he would purchase things at a very low price. He would buy as much stuff in bulk as possible. You
Right.
buy bulk, you get a good discount. And he would do that, and he would just sell the shit out of it. And he would literally he was so good at undercutting all of the local business. like and even if it was just 50 cents, like drop it just below that margin, you'd still make a profit.
Right.
But anyway, so that's how our family, that's where my family, I remember my family starting in the middle of nowhere in Hazel Patch. My grandfather had a department store, the whole family worked there. Sam Walden comes in, and Walmart sets its feet into the world, and Grandpa can't keep up. The stuff that you got to,
Yeah.
he basically he sold the store, and built my dad they built my dad a his own like wholesale store. So my dad basically has always been into fishing and guns and all that stuff, archery. So my dad ended up with an archery and trailer wholesale parts store.
Oh, cool.
And and it was always there with them. And I would, travel the road with my grandpa, who was a sailor. John Book was a sailor. And he would tell me stories. He'd just tell me stories, man, just about freaking service and all this other stuff. And he would, we would just spend time on the road. Like my grandpa Book was an amazing man, and he told me, that dude taught me all kinds of things. My grandfather, Philip Sargent, also taught me a lot, but it was more about how to be a tough old bird.
Yeah.
Taught me how to work hard.
Right.
And
Manly stuff.
yeah, like
Yeah.
working on a farm. Like my grandpa Sargent, raised Angus cattle, Angus and Santa Gertrude cattle. And, so that's what we did. Like I cut alfalfa hay every year.
Oh, wow.
When we'd pull flint rock and we'd walk acres and acres and hundreds of acres of field,
Hmm.
picking up stone and flint just
Wow.
so just so we could use the ground. And so that's what I grew up doing, and we hunted and we fished and we raised our garden. Like when Sam Walden came in, we things got a little tight. I mean, I grew up in a 64-foot single wide trailer,
Yeah.
middle of nowhere on a freaking what we call in Kentucky, we call them hollers.
Hollers.
Call them hollers.
Hollers, huh?
They still call them hollers out there in Vietnam too. But but we, like, and to be honest with you, like it was probably one of the perfect places to grow up. We're, in the middle of a freaking oak and pine thicket, hickory oak and pine thicket, where you could pretty much, if you just, it's like going to the grocery store. You could walk out into the yard, shoot your food, go back in and cook it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how we grew up, or I grew up. I was always taught to work hard and appreciate things. And I used to be I used to be a bit of a fibber when I was a kid. And then I had this moment where my dad caught me in this fib. We were hanging out at this freaking lake place called in land between the lakes in Tennessee and Kentucky, between Tennessee and Kentucky. And we were out this, I want to say it was Dale Hollow. Might have been Dale Hollow. Anyway, we're at the lake. We're hanging out at this campsite with, family, friends, and all this stuff. And so I'm riding this dude's spree, and like we're having a great time. And I'm probably like 9, 10, maybe 12, something like that. And this dude starts talking about golf. Now, I've never played golf at this point in my life,
Right.
but somehow, some way, I wanted to fit in. And I told him, I was like, yeah, man, I got a set of ping zings back at the house.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I live in a 64-foot single wide trailer on a mudslide in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? And so somehow my dad heard the story that I told. And he walks me into the camper and he goes, so,
Boy, where's them clubs at?
you see them ping zings, son? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, old man. That didn't go over very well.
No.
So the next moment was me walking back down to their campsite to tell them that I was full of shit.
Head hung low, and
It humbles you, bro. That humbles you when you learn a mistake like that. So now I just kind of I don't like, bro. Like I'm really good at keeping freaking national security secrets. Other than that, you can kiss my ass. Like I'm an open book, no pun intended. Like it's just how it is. Anyway, long story short, moving on, that happened. Grow up. I was not a very sociable kid.
were you socially awkward, or just you were kind of private?
I'm pretty sure before Asperger's was not Asperger's again. I had Asperger's.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that I was the socially awkward kid in every space. Like going back and talking to people that I grew up with, like I realized that there were a lot of people who actually who did appreciate me and liked me for who I was. but I didn't get that, man. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
you
me.
didn't see it.
I
You were
didn't.
on the
Yeah,
inside looking out. Yeah.
right. And like none of that was reality to me. Like it was just, hey, like what, like man, this is miserable. So, but anyway, I was kind of like I was a bit of a recluse. Um, I didn't want to be. I just didn't like. It was just easier for me to go out into the woods and be me and not have to be social and go hang out with myself and my inner demons. You know what I mean? Um, so I grew up running around in the, a pine thicket. Like that's basically what I did. Me and my friend Perry Ferris, we built log cabins, we built freaking teepees.
Oh, cool.
Like I had a teepee that was literally covered in deer pelt.
No way.
Yeah. I had
Real
a teepee that
Daniel
was
Boone type stuff, huh?
facts. And I'm not joking. Like the two grown men could be in this teepee. Fire pit, the whole 9 yards,
Oh, wow.
water sump, all that shit. And like it was designed like, and that thing lasted. Like when I left, it was still standing until they pulled it until they flattened off that hillside.
Oh, wow.
Like it was still standing. Like the fur had gone and all that shit.
Yeah.
The leather had obviously deteriorated, but before they got rid of it, the TP was still standing.
Get out of here, man.
No, bro.
That's like some Ward Burton kind of stuff, man. If you're a
Yeah, right.
NASCAR fan, you know?
Right, bro.
That's crazy.
So, and granted, that was probably, I built that probably, we built that when I was probably like maybe 16, 15, 16. And it probably stood until I was like 23.
That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's some
Yeah.
like genuinely made in the USA stuff, man.
Yeah. We were not joking around, bro. Like we were all about like, he and I were like we were foragers, man. Like we did all kinds of stupid shit. Anyway, you graduate high school, played football. I played football. I was in the choir. I did home ec. I did all the stupid shit trying to meet girls that didn't know how to, I didn't have any idea how to talk to women. Like, going back and talking to all these girls that I grew up with, they're like, oh my God, why didn't you just ask me? I'm like, well, because I didn't know.
Because I
I'm
don't know how.
stupid.
I ain't
Because
no
I'm
idea.
dumb.
Yeah.
Because I'm dumb. Because I'm a guy, you know. Um, but so it didn't make any sense to me then, but now looking back, like I get it. But anyway, so I graduated, and as soon as I graduated, I was going to join the Marine Corps. I know everybody. I was gonna join the Marine Corps. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I was
right.
literally going to join the Marine Corps, and I did the PFT. I did the PFT screener. I did the ASVAB screener, and I walked into the freaking the gunny. The gunny was being the freaking what they call a monitor in the Marine Corps, basically your job locator.
Yeah.
And Gunny was sitting there at his desk, and he's like. And he drinks that coffee and he looks at me. He grabs his can, he pops it, opens up his Copenhagen, pops a big old fat lipper in, just sits there for a second. He looks at me and he's like, so, what you want to be when you grow up, boy? And he had this froggy, what you want to be when you grow up, boy? And like he just got off the drill field and shit. So I just kind of was like, well, I want to be a doctor. And he was like, this is the Marine Corps.
We don't have doctors, boy.
We don't do that shit here.
We send them to them.
We send people to doctors. We don't make doctors. And so he goes, you don't want to be a sniper. You don't want to be a pilot. You don't want to be a combat engineer. You don't want to be a policeman. You don't want to do any of that stuff. And I'm like, I want to be a doctor. So he spits in his coffee cup, gets up behind his desk, shoves his desk seat underneath his desk, and says, follow me, boy. Follow me, boy. walks me across the hall to the fucking Navy recruiting office, looks at this boiler tech second class, and he goes, "Hey, boats, make this young man a Fleet Marine Force Navy Corpsman." That was it. Dude, I never thought I'd see a sailor dance so happy in my life.
No kidding.
That dude got a quota that he couldn't fill, and it was awesome.
Oh man.
And so, like, that dude was like, he's like, "So where do you want to go?" I said, "I don't know. Where are my options?" He goes, "Great Lakes or Illinois, or Great Lakes, Illinois, or San Diego, California." I'm like, that's where all them movies are made. I'm going there. So I went to San Diego to boot camp. Oh yeah, bro.
Man, okay, this interview's over. That just pretty much caps it right there, man. You were a friggin' Hollywood corpsman, huh?
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
bro. Hell yeah, bro. Best corpsman ever,
All
man.
right.
I'm just saying.
Oh,
But yeah, no, so I, went to boot camp. Got like, man, I did all this crazy stuff, and I don't know, man, I just, had a blast. I experienced a lot of really cool stuff in San Diego. In core school, I was working on going to Buds, be a SEAL, yada yada yada, blah 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 blah. Got married to a psychopath. She's
who
not
hasn't? I mean, come
not a
on now.
psychopath. She's not a psychopath. She knows the difference between right and wrong. She's more of a sociopath.
Sociopath. Yeah, well, they're
Yeah,
lovable.
yeah, yeah. She's
Yeah.
more of a sociopath. Um, so and God bless her. Like I mean that with all my heart, because I truly did love that woman, and I worked my ass off to keep that whole relationship, and it didn't. It
Oh,
wasn't.
yeah, I get it, man.
Anyway, long story short, she's like, "You're not going to be a SEAL," and I'm like, "What?" So that didn't work out. Moving on, blah blah blah. Um, I ended up going to 29 Palms, went to Field Med. I worked at Balboa Medical Center for about a year and a half. And then I got my orders to Field Med to go learn how to be a Fleet Marine Force corpsman. And when I finally got to Field Med, I felt at home. Like I was hanging out with a bunch of jarheads. It's like these are the kind of people. Like it wouldn't have mattered if I was a soldier or a freaking corpsman. It didn't matter. Like I felt like I was in my community. You
You
know what I mean?
belonged. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like roughneck,
You
bunch
felt
of
like you
rough.
made
It's
it.
like
Yeah.
right. It's like a bunch of roughneck pipeliners. Like we
Right.
just want to go out here and break some shit. Like that's what we're going to do. I come home and get cleats all over the carpet. It is what it is.
Yep.
You know. So, but when I graduated, I got orders to 29 Palms, and we had just bought a condo in Rancho Bernardo. I'm going to tell you a price. It's going to blow your mind. My first condo was $141,000 in Rancho Bernardo, California. It's probably worth $500,000 now.
Jeez. And how long ago was that?
That
Roughly.
was in 96, 95,
Damn.
96. Yeah. It was like 95, 96. And today it's probably, well, actually in the boulders, if it's still there, if that whole complex is still there, it's probably worth almost $1 million because
Good
it's up in
grief,
the
man.
mountains. It's up in the mountains. And not that California is gentrified or not.
Yeah.
I mean it is, but whatever. But anyway, I wouldn't get to come home very often. I was in 29 Palms, 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away. We had one vehicle. She kept that because she worked in downtown San Diego.
Right.
Blah 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 blah. I sent her all my money. I gave her everything I had. I gave her all of myself. And it just wasn't, it
In the
wasn't.
cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
It was she's like, "I'm moving on. I'm going to go hang out. I'm going to go marry my best friend, blah, blah, blah." Okay, cool. Whatever. Nobody likes you. I was miserable. I was completely destroyed when she left because I worked so hard. Like I was really disappointed. I was disappointed in God. I was disappointed in me. I was disappointed in her. I was disappointed in my family because there were so many things going on. You know, young man, I'm still irritated. I'm still full of piss and vinegar. She told me that I had to get out before she left. So I separated my first EAS in like 1997.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Um, and I was out for a year. And as soon as we, man, that's another story. We'll tell that story another time. But we ended up living with her ex-in-laws for a little while and her ex-husband. And like, there was some stupid shit that happened and all of that. And yeah, and I was too ignorant to understand. I was just trying to keep the family together
Yeah.
at all costs, mostly at my cost. But I digress. God bless her for the lessons she taught me. And then I met my second wife working at a little shithole bar in South Carolina called Cracker Jacks,
What part of South Carolina?
Columbia.
Oh, my God. I'm stationed at Fort Jackson.
right
Yeah. I know
off
your
the
pitch.
right off the 77.
Yeah, man.
Bro,
There you,
hold on. I was also too at one time stationed on Fort Jackson
get
for
out of
like
here.
6 months. Yep. Did you know that there was a reserve Marine Corps tank battalion on Fort Jackson?
No, I did not.
Yep. It sure was. The 8th
Wow.
Tanks. I mean, obviously we don't have tanks in the Marine Corps anymore. So, but I'm pretty sure 8th Tanks was stood down a long time ago. But before I got out the first time, I got TDY for my separation. I got a what was called a hardship transfer.
Right.
I got a hardship transfer to 8th Tank Battalion in Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Get out of here.
Shit you not.
Wow.
Shit you not. So anyway, and we used to take. I used to. So it's off. So you know where Sumter Road is.
Yeah.
So the back side of Fort Jackson,
Yep.
not 77, because that's what everybody knows.
Right.
Backside where there's still like old school ice houses and shit on the old road, you know. So back there in the middle of nowhere where you can literally get lost on the camp or on the post. But yeah, so we used to take Sumter back out through there, and you like, bro, you had to be careful. You get lost out there. Fort Fort Jackson, out in Sumter, man, Sumterville.
Yeah, man. I was there in 1989.
Oh my God, you are older than I
Yeah.
am, Martin.
Yeah. A little bit.
Just a couple, two old men hanging out on a
Yeah.
freaking podcast.
Pretty much, man.
So anyway, um, so 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 long story short, I met my second wife working at this little shithole, Cracker Jacks. She's a very quiet, reserved woman. And
Now, was she a customer or did she work there?
she was a customer.
Oh, okay. Cool.
She had been in a car crash probably 10, 12 months prior and was basically bedridden for like 6 to 8 months. And then she was able to finally up and at him and able to walk around and do all kinds of stuff. Very violent car crash, like ruptured her liver,
Oh,
broke,
wow.
ruptured her spleen, did all kinds of crazy shit. Like, and you know that if it hits you somewhere in this side and it ruptures your spleen and your liver, like that's a hard hit.
That's a lot of kinetic energy.
That's a
Yeah.
hard hit. Like,
Yeah.
and and like I said, she was basically, when I say bedridden, she wasn't bedridden. They basically made her sleep on the floor, like, because that's the only place she could be relatively.
Right.
Anyway, long story short, we get together, we get married. I come back in. I do my only real Navy deployment on the USS John A. Moore. I come back in. I come back in the Navy, and the Navy's like, "Oh yeah, well we don't need corpsmen right now." And I'm thinking to myself, "But I'm already trained.
Yeah.
Like you spent $60,000 on me just to be trained to do whatever I did. Like now you're gonna send me back to school. Like you're gonna let me in, but you're gonna send me back to school for something else." And so they're like, yeah. We're gonna send you. Here are your five. Here's a bunch of rates you want. So I was like, I wanted to go to dive school.
Okay.
So I wanted to be a deep sea two Charlie diver.
Is that salvage expert kind of thing?
Yep, salvage diver.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep, cookie.
A cookie. Okay.
Yep, I met that man. Carl
Carl
Brashear.
Brashear. Yep.
Carl Brashear was one of the coolest men I've ever met in my life. Big old tall black man, sweeter than I don't even know, man. He was tougher than nails. You could tell he was tougher than nails, but he just had this sweet smile on his face. Just like, hey, bro, like life's too good. You can't hurt me. You seen where I've been?
Yeah.
like, like you know what I mean? Like good old Kentucky boy who just grew up on a farm, whose dad used to beat the piss out of him, and like you're not gonna get any harder than Carl Brashear with a smile on your face.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for a boy who was beat up his entire life and could still smile. Mm-mm.
That's badass right there, man.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
that's a whole other category of badassness.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. And so I'm standing here right before I go to dive school in Panama City, Florida, and I'm talking to Carl Brashear and his wife, and he's telling me a story about Billy Sunday. Like, and this is after the movie's out.
Yeah.
This is after the movie's out, and we're having this conversation at core school in Great Lakes, Illinois, that I had to go to now for my second time
Right.
because I got out, I came back in, I was a quartermaster, I did a lateral conversion, went back to being a corpsman, and then I had to go back through core school before I could go to dive school.
So it's kind of like a research.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
got you.
But like, for what? I've been out for a year.
Because
Like,
they can.
so what you're saying is you need to spend the optar so you can keep your money,
Pretty
right?
much, yeah.
Right. So that's basically what was happening. Hey, we're going to spend a budget that way we get bigger budget next year. Just send them through school. We don't care. We don't really care. It is what it is. So, long story short, I went through core school again, and then I moved on to dive school in Panama City, and I was in dive school in Panama City, and I had injured myself ice skating. I had a bad ankle from ice skating and shit, and I had also injured my wrist from a fall in the ice skating rink.
Oh, okay. So
You know,
you're
I
an
don't know.
overachiever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you're gonna sprint skate on ice, you may as well do it right. You know,
Okay.
if you break some shit, you may as well break it all. You
Hey,
know,
well, you get an A for effort.
I do.
Congratulations.
I promise you. I promise you. But anyway, I was a little injured, so I ended up going to I don't remember what the medical division for a little while, and then get back into school and stuff. And 9/11 happened, and at that point I was like, I don't. It's time to go back to First Marine Division because that's where they need me. I'm a
Yeah.
corpsman. Like we're going to war. That's all there is to this. That we're going to war. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about it. And I need to be somewhere where I can save lives. And it's not here at this schoolhouse. So Master Chief Angstead at the time was like, Book, you sure you want to leave this school? I'm like, yes, Master Chief, I want to get orders back to First Marine Division, blah, 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 blah. And so the next morning, he's like, be back at my office at 5:30 in the morning, and we'll talk about it. So 4:45, I'm standing out in front of his door, pressed dungarees. I didn't sleep that night. I'm pretty sure nobody else did, but I really didn't sleep that night. I went home and I laid on the floor and I thought about all the things that could possibly happen that night and all the people that were dying and or
Yeah.
dead and the actions that were put in place that night. And I went to school the next morning, and HM3 book reporting his order, Master Chief. Come on in. And I'm standing at parade rest in front of his desk, and he goes, sit down. So I have a seat, and he goes, so you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, yes, sir. He goes, you want to go? Where do you want to go? I said, I want to go back to First Marine Division. So he called the detailer. We talked to the detailer. The detailer got me third class orders to First Marine Division. And we packed our shit up the next day. Susan was pregnant with my son at that point. Brand new pregnancy. And so we ended up going to Camp Pendleton. Went to Camp Pendleton, went out there, did a 2-year workup, basically. We almost left like 4 or 5 times. There was a possibility going to Turkmenistan and taking over an airfield. There was and we were sitting on the grinder to go do this the whole time, the 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines. And so, it was a bunch of workups, hey, let's go walk up this mountain with all our shit on our back. It'll great,
Because we can.
Because,
Yeah.
why? Because
we can.
the mountain ain't, because that mountain ain't going nowhere.
That's right. Yeah.
As well use it, So we did workups and we sat on a freaking Area 22 grinder, in the tarmac for hours on hours on hours, and then get back in the 7-ton and haul another 2 hours back to freaking wherever we were training at, and it didn't matter. And we were on QRF 90% of the time for like a whole year.
Right.
And then we did our SAW quals, or our special operations qualifications. And we were ready to go on the ARG USS Tarawa ARG. And we were known as BLT-21. So 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines was part of holy crap, I can't believe I can't even think of that. 15th MU. The 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit. So we went to OIF-1. We assisted in the invasion.
Well, where'd you guys go in at?
So we went into Kasar.
Okay.
So we went to the port. We came in and took the port.
I got you.
So we came in and we went into Kasar across the DMZ. There was us. So there was Kasar and Basra.
Right.
Right.
It's southern Iraq.
Right. So we took Kasar and Basra and the island, Al Basra Island. We had to take it first. We pummeled it. I remember listening to this radio chatter. We pummeled it with air. Freaking out the freaking words. Yeah. Whatever that island was. Whatever.
What it used to be.
Yeah. Whatever that island was. Don't ever get blown up. It messes everything up. Anyway, so we're, Al Basra. Whew, man, that was painful. I was going to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning screaming that shit. Anyway, so we go in, we take Al Basra, Kasar, Basra, and all the way up into Najaf. And then, of course, the other elements are coming in from the DMZ, from the main side of freaking Iraq, and then they're taking it all the way across Syria and all that, Syria face and all that. We all meet up in Al Nasiriyah. There's, Task Force Tarawa, which, 1, 2, and all those guys that got beat the fuck up and all that shit in Al Nasiriyah. Jessica Lynch got captured.
Yeah, I was going to say that was before the before the Army came in there, the whatever the seven whatever the hell it was transportation unit got
Yeah.
jacked up. That was some pretty nasty shit for the Marines.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Well, right. Absolutely. And we basically so on that. Listen, and I'll be honest with you. God bless her sweetheart, because back then nobody told us the story of what was going on with Jessica. They just made her this huge puppet.
The poster child.
Yeah. Right. Right. And the rest of us were just like, what? Like, she got a Bronze Star for getting captured? Like, that's stupid. Like, that's kind of where our heads were. We had no idea what was going on with her. We didn't realize that she was being raped and molested and beat up and shot and treated like weird and then just horrible. Like, she was being treated really horrible. Her and the other little girl, I can't remember her name.
The one from El Paso?
Yeah. Black girl from El Paso.
Yeah.
Sweet. And there was nothing said about her. It was just Jessica.
Because she wasn't the cute little white chick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that was all Uncle Sam and his misguided thoughts and shit. Like, it had ups and for some reason, I was just mad at Jessica for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because I watched some really horrible shit happen in that whole time. And I was hungry for like 2 weeks. When you don't eat. I don't know if you've did you ever do Ranger school or any of that stuff?
No.
Yeah. So when you don't eat for like a week, I don't know if you know what that feels like, but I got really angry at a lot of things. Like my shoelaces. I'd be angry tying my fucking shoelaces in the morning. Like, this is stupid. Like, I don't want to tie these shoes today. I ain't got no food. We're drinking water out of the Euphrates River.
Oh, nice.
Because we've got a Roku back there. But really, you're not getting rid of all that nickel and cadmium, bro. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. All that nickel and cadmium that's in that water, all that freaking depleted uranium and shit that they just throw in the river and all that shit. Not getting rid of that. You can Roku all the bacteria out of that shit, but you ain't getting rid of the freaking radiation. Sorry.
No. Oh, hell no.
Anyway, long story short, the 2nd Battalion 1st Marines, we came in and helped 1-2 Task Force Tarawa. We helped take on Azaria, and we became remain behind. We were the RBE, the remain behind element, and we basically controlled on Azaria. We basically turned it into a college town, and then we got we were literally going from our aid station was stuck in the An Azaria Museum, which was right next door to this huge curator house, which is where our CPOC was, right? And so all this stuff, and then right down the street was the An Azaria College. Well, we turned that into our MWR area.
Hey, there you go.
We turned the whole college into an MWR establishment.
Sweet.
Satellite phones, there's another command element down there. Our group element and wing element are using that. Blah 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 blah. The cache is up here right next to the freaking aid station. All that stuff. Anyway, long story short, there was a lot of humanitarian assistance shit that happened there.
Yeah.
Now, med caps and neos and shit. And so, so when we did one of the
winning of their hearts and minds.
Yeah, I don't know about you, man, but one of the hardest things for me to treat nowadays is kids. Because I saw some heinous stuff. When a kid is charred from the freaking waist down because of an IPDCIM,
Could put you in a whole new mind frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You pick up when somebody picks up a baby and you have to put it in a trash bag because it's got a hole in its head and it's less than a year old. That's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are things that stay with you for a long time.
Forever, man, not just a long time. You never get over.
Yeah. Trust me, I learned that the hard way.
Right.
I thought my PTS was getting really. I was like, bro, I'm beating this shit.
Yeah. Right.
Woo!
Until.
Yeah, and then so I go back in for a re-eval, and this I'm gonna tell you right now, Joe. I sat in her chair for 15 minutes, and by the end of 15 minutes, I was bawling. And she looked at me and she goes, "Mr. Book," she goes, "I hate to say this," she goes, "but I'll tell you, you're never going to get better from PTSD." She goes, "You just learn how to cope with it better." And I was like, well,
That's like,
fuck you for that.
yeah, like, why don't you just shoot me in the dick now because it ain't
Yeah,
ever going
yeah,
to work
like,
again? Yeah.
well, fuck you for that.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay. I feel
appreciate
a
you.
lot better about myself now.
Appreciate you.
I
Yeah, like,
don't have any problems. Hell.
man, you're awesome.
Yeah.
This is the part where I tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so all that stuff happens. I end up I get my 100%. I never really cared about the 100%. Like, but I got out with 80%. They were like, yeah, you're a soup sandwich. Anyway, getting back to where I was in the timeline. So we're in Nazaria. We finally, like, the Jessica Lynch thing happens.
Yeah.
Log trains are shut down. We don't eat for like a week and a half.
If you guys controlled the bridges and the roads, how the hell why did they shut shit down?
Because you guys were too scared to run a log train.
Oh, okay.
Because Jessica had just been pinched. Like, so this was like when Jessica and her whole log train got pinched.
Right.
So that happened. And then we finally got some food. And then Delta and all of us, like, we ended up doing the diversion. Second battalion first, the BLT 2-1 ended up doing the diversion for Delta to go into the hospital and get her. Like, yeah, it was just one of those moments where you just kind of go, this is interesting. This is really interesting.
So you boys didn't think about like eating local?
No, we did.
Oh, I was gonna say. I mean, hell, they had nothing but camels.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I can't tell you. Yeah, absolutely. But I can tell you, I ate more lamb fat than I have ever eaten in my life.
Yeah,
like those lamb kebabs, and the 90% of it was fat. It was just lamb fat and freaking naan. Like, there was some meat in there, but like it was just lamb fat and naan.
yeah.
But you guys had driven up the freaking price so much because you guys came in. You're like, and not you guys specifically, but like
the army.
Yeah,
in general,
like,
yeah.
You're all psyops guys came in and jacked up the whole economy, man. Because we would get a whole freaking shawarma, and when I mean a whole shawarma, I mean would fill a whole table.
Oh yeah,
for like $10. You guys come in and it's instantly $150.
Because they're throwing the money around, man. I mean, they got like bags and bags of money and shit. Yeah,
exactly. The economy went, and I was like, wait, what? Hold on. No. Like, I want to go get these DVDs for like 50 cents, bro. Come on. Anyway, long story short, we take on Azaria. We get Jessica Lynch out. It's time to shave all our facial hair and all our heads and stuff, because it's time for us to go back on the ship and go home. Because we have finally seized Iraq. You guys, everybody went north, took Baghdad. Baghdad fell. It was time to get on the boat.
Yeah, when you guys pulled out, the Brits took over Basra, didn't they? In that area? Yeah.
Right. Well, the Brits, Boubion Island and all that shit, that's what it was fucking called, Boubion Island. So Boubion Island, right off of freaking Qasr and Basra, we took that island first. We blanketed that shit with freaking air for like 10 hours.
Damn.
And then they freaking just covered it with freaking British artillery. The whole island. And they were just sending freaking... We were pummeling that whole region for days, bro, before we ever went into the DMZ. We were smoke checking everybody. We had one unit of Royal British Marines with us, And those dudes were brutal. We were in the middle of a firefight in Anazaria, and this dude looks at me and he goes, "Hey, Doc, spot a tea?" And I'm like, uh, yeah, bro, they're still shooting at us. He goes, "I know, it's tea time, mate. You want some tea?"
You want cream of that?
Yeah, you want some tea, mate? I'm like, sure, why not? Whatever. He's got tea and biscuits, right? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Tea and biscuits. Screw it. Like, let's not get shot doing this. He goes, it's calming down, mate. It's good. I'm like, all right, cool. So we make tea. That's the first time I've ever had British tea. I mean, it's just black tea, but
Yeah,
how they make it is amazing. You know, I'd never had milk in my tea before,
right.
but you put a little sugar and a little milk in your tea. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Like it's probably my
better than
favorite.
coffee.
I'm drinking coffee right now, and I will drink because I drink black and bold, like Folgers Black and Bold all the time, because I like heavy coffee.
Right.
I like caffeinated shit. But you get a good tea bag, and I usually use like Twillings or something British, and put a little milk or half and half, and some honey in it, bro. Little bergamot tea, kiss my ass. I'm good.
There you go.
Hell yeah. So that's one of and you know how these guys they get these 24-hour rations
Oh yeah.
and the pair of bro, I had never in my life. Listen, I love the fact we have these little chemical heaters you could start with water, but a paraffin wax stove was the coolest thing in the world, bro. Taking a paraffin block, setting it in the middle of that little aluminum hooyah, set it on fire and set your shit on top and cook your food. Kiss my ass. Those Brits knew exactly what the hell they're doing. They got a 24-hour MRE with
Oh yeah.
6,400 calories in it.
Yep.
And by God, cigarettes, gum, the whole 9 yards. And so, yeah. So anyway, so we finished there, and we I don't know, man. We this dude was like spot tea, doc, and I'm like, bro, they're still shooting at us, man. Whatever. So long story short, Anazaria is now over. We get Jessica out, all that stuff, and it's time to go home. We go back to the Tarwa, and I'm at what we call Advon, advanced party.
Right.
And so I'm just going to go back and get our gear logistically squared away, do a freshwater wash down, get ready to get on a boat. Because basically we are now in words, stuff, doc shit, containment, isolation. No, that's the word I'm looking for.
Quarantine.
Quarantine.
All right.
I knew it started with a C or a Q.
Okay.
One of the two, because they both sound like a k. Anyway, so again, don't ever get blown up. It messes everything up. So we were basically in quarantine washing the vehicles for like 3 days, all of our vehicles and all that stuff. Unlike Afghanistan. Did I say that out loud? Sorry.
Nope.
So long story short, we get back on the boat. It's just me and 3 other Marines, all recon Marines. And we go back. So I'm like, hey, chows, they just got chow done. We flew back on a 53. We get back on the boat. We're on the Tarawa. It's an LHA. So it's a big, huge boat. It's basically a 3,000 person city on the water. And so we get on the boat and they've got chow. It's like dinner. And I'm like, bro, guys, like, don't take a shower. Like, let's go hit chow. Go get some clean camis on out of your locker. Go get some greens on. Get down to the freaking chow hall. And let's grab chow real quick. And then we'll go take a shower and just freaking chill out. And so, all right, Doc, cool. So we do that. We get down to the chow hall and everybody's like, oh, hey, man, haven't seen you guys, man. It's good to see you guys back, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, thanks. The rest of the guys will be back here probably in 3 days or so. We're just trying to move everybody back, yada, yada, yada. So we're eating. We grab our food. We go out on the freaking mess decks. And this some little SK2, pretty little thing, adorable, blonde, just look like something that somebody uses on a boat for a long deployment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Chew toy. Yeah.
Yeah. Like deployment chew toy, exactly.
Right.
So so but anyway, she's sitting at the table right across from us. And not necessarily directly because it's just two and two. And then right next to us, she's basically sitting on the opposite side of us. And you could, man, there's no way we couldn't smell ourselves, but I'm pretty sure we smelled
Yeah,
because
it was one of
we
those
hadn't
things
had
that.
a yeah, we hadn't had a shower in like 180 days. like my balls got washed with the what water I could dispense off my water bottle,
Right.
or the condensation from the nightfall. I might wipe my balls down with the condensation from the bottle. You know what I mean? But for the most part, we just stunk. Everything stuck to you. You just like you could peel a layer of film dirt off of you. And she looks at us and she goes, "Oh my God, you guys stink. You didn't think to take a shower?" And I looked at her and I go, "You didn't think that you might disappear out here in the ocean somewhere?"
Things
I said,
happen,
"You should probably be quiet right now."
Yeah.
She goes, like I would have traded place with you guys any day. And I'm like, "Listen, sweetheart," I said, "I just spent 180 days out in a combat zone where people are trying to kill me left and right." She goes, "Well, we haven't gotten off the boat in 180 days. And I
It
was thinking
wars
to
hell.
myself, "Oh, that sounds like shit, huh?
Yeah,
How many
man.
ice
All
cream
that.
fucking socials did you have during that 180 days? Because I promise you, we didn't have any.
Yeah. The
I'm tired of shitting
stories.
cinder blocks." Like, you know what I mean? like I don't know if you know this or not, but it's not cool to have an ore drill to have to take a shit in the morning. Like
Yeah.
it's not. So long story short, she just kind of shut up and walked away. And I was like, "All right, well, fuck her. Let's just eat." So we ate and we went back up. We took showers and we went to the PX, got us some fucking formaldehyde and all that shit that you get on a ship. And then we all went back to the freaking, berthing and just kind of passed out for like a day and a half. And, we were on our way back, Liberty ports here and there. And then we got back home. I was back home for probably about 4 months, 5 months. I did a transfer from 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines to 1st Marine Regiment. And at the time, that was supposed to be the LPO. And I took the regiment over as the LPO. But Pat Warren came in and he was a first class and I was a second class. So he was an E6 and I was an E5. So he basically took the LPO position and they were going to put me back in supply. And I was like, ain't doing that shit. Like, yeah, but you're really good at supply. Like you're really basically what they were trying to tell me is I was a really good thief.
Yeah.
Because I am. If there's one thing I am good at, it's taking your shit.
Well, I would like to call it a procurement specialist.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I just call it what it is. It's just fucking.
I'm stealing shit.
I just call it. I'm just telling you I'm stealing your shit. I'll look right at you and say, "Hey, I'm taking this right now, just so you know I'm taking this home." If I need it more than you do, you're not gonna have it. Like I'm just gonna tell you that. I'm not a thief, but if the people that I care about need this shit more than you do, you're not gonna.
You don't have it. Yeah.
You're not gonna own it long.
Yeah.
So, and as a matter of fact, I wish I had. Do I have any of those in here? One of my awards literally says, "Thank you." It was a Navy Achievement Medal with Valor. It says for procuring over $1 million of supplies at no cost to the Marine Corps.
Sweet.
I don't know. Have you ever stolen a crash cart before?
No, but what we did do when we were in Victory before our push up into Iraq, we stole the shit out of ballistic blankets from you guys.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
stole every damn thing we could get our
Oh,
hands.
that's awesome.
Anytime you guys left something laying around, man, it was gone. And we would steal back
Oh,
and forth from each other.
if it
That's the
makes you
funny part
feel
of
any better, there is a Humvee that used to say U.S. Army on the hood. Now says United States Marine Corps with a 6-digit
it.
number on it.
Sweet,
It has
sweet,
a Marine
man.
Corps ruck number on it. I promise you. We found it in Biop, and it didn't last there long. Yeah, that became my truck. That was good old 6'3", promise.
You
Whatever.
know, it's we're supposed to be the best equipped military in the world, and I gotta throw some dirty laundry out there, man. It's
Yeah.
pretty damn sad when you gotta steal shit that you don't have from other units. That there was a place called Four Corners in
Yeah.
Victory in Kuwait from the
Yeah.
units that were leaving theater, and I mean they would just we could get any damn thing we wanted from that place, man.
Right, dude. People just pull in. They're getting ready
Dump
to pull
it.
out. They're pull in, leave shit sitting, and fucking just leave
Yeah,
it there.
yeah,
Yeah. It's like a supermarket.
yeah, pretty much.
Camp Victory was the same way. It was like
Was
a
it?
supermarket for
Yeah.
freaking combat zone. Like, but once we finally got into Baghdad, or once we finally got into Iraq, up into Fallujah and Anaz, or not like up into Fallujah and all that shit. Once we got up in there, bro, Biop and freaking Baghdad and the cash and all this. Listen, like on a Wednesday, the colonel would want to go. He'd want to go see the Marines and the freaking soldiers in the cash. Well, that's the best place to go buy bootleg whiskey or beer. And they only had beer. So when they had beer, those little Heineken pony cakes?
Yeah.
Those little freaking six quart freaking keggers, or
Yeah.
like maybe have a gallon kegger or whatever. Well, we would buy like 16 of those things and put them in the back of the truck. That was the first time I ever bought a bottle of Blue Label Scotch.
Oh, wow.
I bought a bottle of Blue Label Scotch in Baghdad for $60. You know how much it costs here in America right now?
Oh, I have no idea.
A bottle of Blue Label Scotch, Johnny Walker Blue Label, right now it probably costs somewhere in the neighborhood of like $260.
Damn.
Yeah. And Johnny Walker sucks. I hate
Yeah.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Walker tastes like sock water. It's not a Macallan. It's not a McAllister. Like those are some good scotches. And I don't even drink anymore. But I remember that. I'm well versed. I'm well versed in alcohol.
Hey.
Promise. Me and Booze are really good friends.
Oh,
we
yeah.
just don't. We just. So me and Booze turn into a cocaine bag and breaking shit. We just can't
nice.
do that anymore.
Nice.
Yeah. We don't do that shit anymore because you know what? You know what it looks like to have a combat veteran on cocaine. It's not wise.
Well, I never made it that far. I was a alcohol alumnus myself. I was like like a few months from turning like total alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll say this, like, I don't know, like being in the music industry, like there's not a green room that you can't find drugs or alcohol in. And I really don't care what genre the music is. There's always drugs and alcohol in the green room. So
that's like with craft services, ain't it? You know how they set the buffet up? Yeah, okay.
Facts.
Okay.
Exactly. So it was very easy for somebody who wasn't working on his to get all mixed up into that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, long story short, so 4 months later, I went back to Fallujah. And Fallujah was not fun. Fallujah was not fun.
And what year was that?
2004.
Okay.
The worst fucking battle in Iraq.
Now, were you in the spring parade, or did you go back in the fall?
I got a little bit of both.
Okay. Because we sent a team to Fallujah in the fall, in November.
Right.
Yeah.
We needed you guys.
Yeah.
I had left about mid-fall.
Okay.
No, I was there for all of spring, all of summer, and part of fall.
Now, did you
And
ever get to like Solder City or?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
listen. So my commanding colonel, John Tulin, who retired as a 2-star general, uh, wanted to see every battle.
Oh, nice.
So if there was something going on in Sutter City, guess what?
Hmm.
Rope up, boys, let's go. And that's where we went. If there was something happening in Usaba, guess what? We're going to Usaba. Like there were times where in Al Nazaria, or yeah, not in Al Nazaria, but in Fallujah, we were like, so I was the LPO. I was the LPO when I first got there, the
Yeah.
leading petty officer of the aid station. And then, Pat Warren came in, great guy, great leader. Um, and they were like, "Hey, you're gonna go back to supply. Pat Warren's gonna be he's gonna be the guy." And I'm like, Pat Warren can have that spot because he obviously outranks me, but I'm not going back to supply.
Right.
And there was a phone call, and they're like, "Hey, we need a corpsman to be part of the PSD for the colonel." And I was like,
No brainer. No brainer.
because I'm tired of walking around in my turtle suit, for freaking Scud missiles and shit flying in. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not like, no, we're not wearing. Screw this gas mask Wednesday shit. Like nobody likes Gay Wednesday anyway. You know what I mean? That's what we ended up starting to call it. We started to call it Gay Wednesday because we were wearing gas masks. You had to wear your gas mask every Wednesday. Otherwise, you didn't have to have it on. OF1, we wore gas masks and mob suits, right? Like the whole time. Yeah. Like nobody understands how hard it is for clothing to breathe until you're wearing a bag of charcoal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't give a shit who you are. Anyway, long story short, so we're back in Fallujah, and so I'm like, yep, I got you. So I went to what we called the Bat Cave and met people from 3rd Battalion 1st Marines and scouts from 1st Tanks. It was a special team that was built for the PSD. Full of heavy machine gunners and scouts. And we basically we were a special unit. We were kind of like our own little special purpose MAGTAF. We were security for the colonel,
right?
But we were doing insertions for like 1-5. Like we did an insert in 1-5 in Noah Loom. We didn't even get the briefing that there was a freaking an eclipse. like I'm driving, Nod's driving, and then I look up, it's like freaking like I don't know 1 o'clock, and there's no fucking moon.
Oh wow,
none. And I don't know if you know this, or I know you do, but if you turn your Nods on, and there's no overhead ambient light.
That's your light source. You can't see shit. Work. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's like 7 alphas don't work without light.
Right.
7 Bravos have a light, but like it basically whites everything out. It's IR.
Yeah.
Like, and if yeah. So long story short, it got really dark. My gunner, we inserted 1-5. My gunner, Chris Wright, basically had to take his PEC 2 or PEC 4, whichever he had at the time, and shine it at the road on Route Lincoln.
Like driving with a flashlight.
So we could drive back with his IR flashlight on the front of his rifle as he's riding the Mongoose. Like, that's how dark it was. It was bad. It was bad. We didn't get nobody gave us any intel that it was going to be low loom, none of that shit. It was just, hey, good luck. take 1-5 over here to put them into this freaking insert so they can go spank the shit out of this town and come back. We'll have supper. You know what I mean? Like,
Nice.
you know what I mean? So, like, all right, cool. So, but we did shit like that all the time, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we were kicking in doors. We were doing all kinds of stupid shit, doing security checks, like breaches. Like, dude, we did everything. We were, dude, we'd have people come in. I remember this one time I was riding the gun. I was actually running the gun. And this major walks up and he's like, hey, he's like, I'm supposed to be in this truck. I'm like, who are you? He goes, I'm Major so-and-so. I'm like, all right, get in the back seat. Like that, just like that. It's just Marine Corps major. I'm like, all right, get in the back seat. And he goes, what do you mean get in the back seat? I'm like, get in the back seat, sir. And he was like you could see on his face. He's like, you could see like written on his face, I'm a major in the Marine Corps. You know what I mean? Like, and in my face was like, I don't
give a shit. Yeah.
This is my fucking truck, bro. You're tagging along. I'm riding a gun. And as far as I'm concerned, you're sitting behind me. So shut your mouth. Get in my truck, sit down, shut the fuck up. But they used to do that. They do that shit all the time. We used to call them pack strappers. Because they would get we'd have to go somewhere, and these people would want to get, and they knew we were good at what we did.
Yeah.
We were, and because we were. It was a specialized group of people. And I mean specialized group of people. The scouts were fucking amazing. And the freaking 6 Marines that we had from freaking 3-1 were tougher than nails. And they were all heavy machine gun operators. So we had a tow, we had a saw gunner, we basically had everything we need. We needed somebody for freaking air and combat, like combat air.
Yeah.
We had all that shit squared away. We had all that shit. We had everything we needed in 6 trucks and 2 teams. 6 trucks and 2 teams. And people wanted to go out and get their combat action ribbons. Or for you guys, cabs.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, I don't know if you know this or not, but this is how you die. Like,
yeah, that's the downside to it.
Yeah. Like, you're going to go get a badge. You're going to go get a badge and
posthumously.
Yeah. You're going to get a posthumous badge and possibly a posthumous, like, Purple Heart. Like,
yeah.
Congratulations, you're dead.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you're dead. And you can go sell that and buy a cup of coffee. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like, you're not going to park, I promise you, because you're dead.
Yep.
You don't get a parking spot, dickhead. So, but yeah, like, it was just, there was a lot of pack strappers, and those sons of bitches were all over the place, and they would come in, and that dude walked out, and I was just like, bro, like, I don't know if you know this or not, but my boss is John Tulin, and he calls me Doc, and I call him sir, and I'm the guy that walks by him and tells him to put his fucking Kevlar back on. Like, I'm the guy that tells the colonel. Like, and John would sit next to the fucking truck. He'd have a cup of coffee. He'd have a cigar in his mouth. I mean, we're talking like a 6'5", 6'6" old man.
Yeah.
Like, just built like a brick shithouse. He's still bigger than hell. Like, I just saw him last February. And you want to talk? Listen, I still love that man. He won't let me call him sir anymore. It's John. But anyway, I would have to walk by him and be like, sir, can you put your Kevlar on so I don't have to spoon your skull back together? All right, dog. He'd put his fucking Kevlar back on. And then walk by him a few more minutes later, and his Kevlar sitting in the freaking seat of his Humvee again. Radio in his freaking ear, standing outside the door, just kind of putting his arm propped up over the door with the radio in his ear. So what's going on over there? And I'm like, sir.
Dude, come on, man.
Right. Hey, bro. Like, you're trying to make my job hard. I ain't trying to get into that shit. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to go home to your wife and tell her that your blood is all over my hands. I'm not interested. And all those Marines were just, there is no better group of people than the people that I worked with during OIF 1 and OIF 2. the reconnaissance battalion, the motor T guys, the freaking, I don't know, man. Everybody there. There was a fight. We got back from OIF 1 and VMA 311 was with us during OIF 1.
Right.
And they like, I don't know if you know what it feels like to have a Harrier over top of you fucking spraying shit down when you need it. Like, but it's awesome.
Apache.
Or Apache, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you have an air wing unit that's basically your support and they save a lot of lives, we come back for freaking, we start to go to freaking train in 29 Palms for OIF 2. And this is like December, January. So we're doing a month. Oh, no, it's November because it's the Marine Corps birthday. I remember it. We go out the 2 days before the Marine Corps birthday. So we're there. Marine Corps birthday happens and everybody's partying. John Tulin has literally lifted all of the restrictions. We get to do freaking beer garden. We get to go to the PX. We get to go freaking grab freaking booze and all that stuff. And we have 1 day to celebrate the United States Marine Corps on a military installation. Well, we did.
Mission accomplished.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Sweet.
Yeah. So the Grunt Battalion, 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines, we basically and the regiment, because now I'm at the regiment and my old battalion is still with us training because we're all getting ready to go.
Right.
And so there was 2-1, 3-4, 2-2, and 1-4, I think. Anyway, we're all out there training, doing our things. So 2-1 comes over the regimental aid station. We're all hanging out and we go, and the regiment, we decide we're going to make a big, huge booze run. So you remember the AMOL cans, the big, huge aluminum freaking cans that flip, like lock on the sides all the way around, and you just kind of pull the caps off of them and shit. So those big tall ones, you could put fuck tons of booze in them. So we'd take like 4 or 5 of those cans, empty them, and take them back to the PX, to the package store, and fill those things up and come back out to the party.
Nice.
So we got to celebrate the Marine Corps birthday
in style,
in camouflage, in style, in the desert. I mean, it was kind of cool. It was basically kind of like having a freaking what we call a mess night.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I realize I'm all over the place, but like,
it's all right, dude.
These are the stories that pop into my head, man. Anyway, so I don't remember who it was. Some Apache kid, Indian Apache, Marine, corporal. We're all going to go to VMA 311, and they have a Quonset hut. They have a big, huge, the big old Gunny Highway Quonset huts.
Yeah.
And so they have a whole air wing in this thing, and they've got coolers of beer still and all this other stuff. And we're like, hey man, happy birthday. We've already drank all of our booze. Like, we've drank everything we had. The whole fucking battalion was empty. So long story short, it's like 2:00 in the morning. We walk in and this sergeant he walks up to us. He's like, where are you guys from? Oh, hey bro, we're 1st Marine Regiment and 2nd Battalion 1st Marines. We're all just hanging out. We just thought we'd come over and say happy birthday, man, and just maybe ask if we could have a couple beers before we go to bed. Nah, I don't even like grunts, man. What? Wait. We came over here to praise you and maybe steal some beer. Whatever. Not steal it, but share it.
Yeah.
Share your beer. We're gonna share your beer because it's what we do. But it didn't end out the way we thought it would. Well, this Lance Corporal reaches over and he's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm gonna reach in here and grab a beer. So he does. He reaches in the cooler and he grabs like 2 beers and he pops one and he shotguns it. And that was about it. Like it became this brawl. The whole Quonset hut exploded. We got to the point to where, and again, I can't remember his name. It was a little patchy dude. It he ended up we got our asses beat because we were basically fighting an entire fire wing, air wing. And long story short, like it's like we're going back to the freaking regimental aid station, and this dude looks at me and goes, "Doc," he goes, "That son bitch knocked out my tooth."
Damn.
Like you get it. And he wasn't shitting. This tooth right here, this incisor right here, was broken off at the gum line.
Oh, nice.
And he goes, "You think we can go find it?"
Hey,
Now keep in mind, it's now 3:00 in the morning, and we were fighting in the middle of the desert in the sand. So I'm thinking to myself,
yeah. We
yeah, maybe we can maybe do it. Why not? Drunk as hell.
Just try it.
Yeah, why not? So we looked for his tooth until about 4:00 in the morning. We didn't find his tooth. And so we had to take him into the dentist the next morning and epoxy this freaking the root of his freaking, tooth and all this other shit. And then, we trained and we were ready to go back to freaking war. So that's kind of how all that went, man. Crazy.
Well, as huge as that part was of your life, I mean, that wasn't, and it took me years to learn this lesson that wasn't it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, brother.
Yeah. I mean, I was.
You couldn't say that better. You couldn't say that better because when I first retired, that was my identity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was all I was. I'm a retired Navy corpsman, combat veteran.
That's right.
I don't even really give a shit about being recognized as a veteran anymore, to be honest with you. And it's going to this sounds really horrible, but I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that. I'm going to do this because I'm going to have a little shot of nicotine because I'm just going to say this and it's probably not going to sit well.
I don't care.
I know you don't. And I appreciate you. And that's why we're friends. I'm tired of watching our community eat itself.
Meaning what?
Like, yeah, we went through some really bad shit. But you remember being trained by Vietnam veterans. I do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I do. You want to talk about some hard-nosed sons of bitches.
Yeah.
And they weren't proud. They wanted to make sure we survived.
Well,
I'll never forget that. The first time I ever put on a flak jacket at 1st Tank Battalion in 29 Palms, the first time I ever put on a flak jacket, it was stained with blood. And you remember the old Vietnam?
Oh, yeah, the big bulky ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Pockets and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
they had a case on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big old collars and shit. And buttons and double flaps. And there was no plate. It just was a fucking Kevlar vest.
Yeah.
And it weighed as much as you and I both combined.
Yeah.
And then you had to put your pack on, Alice pack, which I would still I would rather carry an Alice pack today than any pack. But like that thing was covered when they gave him the first flak jacket, it was covered in like blood stains.
Mm-hmm.
It was covered in blood stains. Like, I'll never forget. And that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was in the 90s, bro. And so.
Well, to somebody who can't appreciate what that means, I mean, aside from what they see in Hollywood movies and shit, how would you try to convey that to what it meant? Could you put it in words?
Yeah. Reality. Like, dude, I'll say, and I'm my better half in there. Christina, like we'll watch a movie and it'll be something based on a reality or something. It'll be something, combat related or like the Extraction or Extraction 2 with Chris Hemsworth or whatever, which was a great movie. Both those movies were really good. But there's always something like I can't stand people that say copy that. It drives me batshit crazy.
Especially if they don't know what it means.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we used to say Roger that, solid
Roger
copy.
that, yeah.
Roger that, solid copy. That's how you answer that. Now they just taken it and went, copy that. Like,
yeah.
Fuck you, man. Like, that's not how this works.
No, it's not even good radio procedure,
No.
Yeah.
So, but if I were going to tell you what that looked like back in the 90s, when I went through boot camp and I went back out, going to the field back then, like it was all about reality because we were only freaking 20 years out of a combat zone. You know what I mean? Like we're 25 years out of a combat zone.
Yeah, more or less. I mean,
it's no different than right now. It's basically kind of like it is right now. Like, well, we were in a 20-year war, and it's freshly over. But
even Desert Storm came up in 1991, and
that's why I joined.
Yeah,
I watched Desert Storm on TV, and I was like, well, that's what I want to do. I want to go I want to go serve our country. That's what I want to do. And so that's what I did. That's why I wanted to be a Marine.
Even that engagement didn't have the significance as Vietnam did.
No.
There were, over 10 million, roughly 10 million that served in Vietnam throughout the total 59 to 75 scope.
Right.
Yeah. So
that was a long, we basically just repeated it. We just repeated it in the Middle East.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like that's literally what we did.
Yeah, because we didn't learn the first time.
Right. Yeah. Not only that, we left Afghanistan the same fucking way we left Saigon.
Exactly.
The same way. Just a lot more cool shit they got to keep.
Yeah.
So I guess we just leveled the playing field.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? Because like we were basically the technology superior.
Yeah.
For a lot of things. And apparently we just gave a bunch of cave dwellers all of our technology. How awesome is that? Not that I'm trying to be political and shit, but
no, it makes me proud to be an American.
To me personally, right. Facts. Like, listen, I'm not trying to be political, and to me personally, that's not politics. That's what am I looking for here?
That's reality.
That's right. That's reality. That's why I said you asked me how to put all that. Like it's reality.
Yeah.
Like there's no. Again, let me say this about combat. I play Call of Duty all the time. I love that game. I play the shit out of that game. I am a 50-year-old man playing Call of Duty with a bunch of teenagers and enjoying life and whipping ass. And you know what's bad is I still play Call of Duty like I would clear a room.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's horrible.
Cutting the pie, yeah.
It's
you got kids jumping over shit.
Yeah.
So.
Some dude jumping off a freaking ladder, shooting you in the top of the head, and you're like, I don't know where the hell that came from.
Right.
Anyway, like the reality is that I play Call of Duty like I'm in a combat zone. It's not how you play Call of Duty. However, real combat doesn't have a soundtrack. There's no kiss scene.
No.
There's no slow motion.
Nope.
There's no, hey, all right, well, this is the moment after the dramatic scene where everything calms down and we get to hear some story. No, it's just hurry up, fuck some shit up, get home, sit and think about that for about 3 to 5 hours, get up, go fuck some more shit up, and you do that for 6 to 8 to 14 months.
Yeah.
Like that's what reality is. And that's why I say reality. Reality is not, it's not pretty. There's no rainbows and no unicorns. War is the ugliest fucking thing you'll ever see in life. And there's nothing romantic about war.
Not per se, but in the Hollywood sense. I mean, because if you look back through history, Hollywood, the Great Generation served in World War II. You know,
Yes.
and in essence, they saved the world.
Yes.
There was,
Absolutely. We would all be speaking Japanese or German.
yeah, and there
Absolutely.
was a certain nobility in that cause. The other ones that came down the pike, I mean, even the Gulf War was a necessary evil, but it didn't really accomplish anything.
Right.
What we
Yeah.
did in Iraq,
We basically went over there, smacked him on the hand, said, "Don't do that shit,"
yeah,
and then came home.
right.
Right.
Now, there was a time where I had a real problem with my service because I looked at the sacrifices that we made and the cost benefit ratio, and,
Oh.
not even worth it,
No. Yeah. No. Not
But
even remotely.
no, but what I think we veterans have a duty is we have a duty to educate.
Absolutely.
We have a duty to tell our story. And
Absolutely.
and that's why I believe personally that's why I was allowed to come back. Because I
Right.
struggled with that for years. Like, who in the hell am I?
Right.
You know, what
Right.
what the hell did
Why
I
am I
do
still
that
here?
exactly?
Why did I have my hands chest deep, like elbow deep in somebody's chest cavity? And here I am
Yeah.
standing here playing all these guitars and doing all this music stuff and meeting all these cool people and telling my story. Why me?
Yeah.
Like bro, like I still deal with survival guilt. Like I watch a TV show nowadays, and granted, listen, I'm so emotionally better than I used to be because I used to be a basket case.
Yeah.
Um, but like so I don't know if you've seen the show Lethal Weapon. Like I know you've seen the movies, but there's a TV show. It's 3 seasons.
With what the hell? Damon Wayans.
Yeah, Damon
Yeah.
Wayans and
Yeah.
freaking yeah. In the last season, it's got Sean William Scott in it, and he's
Oh,
a
okay.
CIA agent, and it's all basically like right around 2019. And
So Stifler went to CIA school.
yeah, Stifler
All
was a
right.
CIA agent who became a cop because he's got to find a better way of life or whatever. But Riggs, instead of being a ranger, was a SEAL. And there was a lot of commonality and things that I could relate to. And so, but like I'll get in there, I'll watch some of those stupid shows, and I get a little emotional. I get a little emotional about shit like that, and otherwise I wouldn't be emotional about nothing. Like whatever.
It's funny you bring that up because a lot of people don't understand that about us. And
Yeah.
they think that we're robots and monsters. But what they don't realize is the mind frame that comes with being in combat. Your mind only gives a shit about one thing, and that's survival.
That's it.
Nothing else matters.
That's it.
You know, it, and once you come back, there is no switch to turn that off. There's not even a dimmer switch really to kind of tone it down.
No.
You've got to learn through trial and error how not to be that way.
Right. When your op tempo is so high that you stay awake
Yeah,
for 5 fucking days,
yeah,
don't tell me nothing about freaking hard work. Don't
yeah,
tell me nothing about hard work.
yeah,
When you're having a hard, I don't know about you, but there are moments in time where I'd be awake for like day 3 and I'd start seeing shit,
yeah.
like seeing shit that wasn't there.
Right.
And they'd be like, "Hey doc, you need some sleep, bro." I'm like, I realize that we got to go. I'm like,
Ain't the
well,
time for it.
yeah,
Yeah, when it's
like,
over.
yeah, like I'll catch you up when it's over, man. Like, so there was, you know what I mean? Like, don't talk to me about your struggles. Like, I get it. We all struggle. And at the end of the day, I have to solve my own struggle. You know what I mean? I had to start. That's literally what it all boiled down to. I had to solve my own struggle. But the only way I could solve my own struggle was to fall to the ground.
All right. Well, I'm glad that makes a good segue into what I want to talk about next. You came back. How long did it take you to mentally come back? And what was your process in doing that? How did you get into music?
Oh shit, Joe! I've been into music since I was a kid, man.
Okay.
So I started playing music when I was in the 5th grade. I
Right.
started playing saxophone. I played saxophone at the elementary school.
So you're a band geek.
Yeah, I was a band geek.
All
I was a
right.
band geek. because I didn't want to sit in the classroom anymore. I just got bored sitting in the classroom. So we got to go to the band room. We got to go to the band room and act all stupid.
Yeah.
So, when we would share instruments and trade instruments, try to figure things out, blah, 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 and I learned a lot about playing saxophone and playing the clarinet, playing the flute, playing the trumpet. I suck at trumpet. Um, any of those instruments I suck at. But I learned a lot about music. I learned music theory. I learned a lot of stuff about that. But my whole family has always been, musically inclined.
Yeah.
My uncle was basically the book rock star of the family, and then my two cousins, his two sons, Chad and Mark, both were in bands. Chad played a mean guitar. Mark played guitar and the drums. And they both play a little piano, and so I just got to the point to where I wanted to learn how to play guitar and write. And back then, the first song I ever learned how to play, and you can't make this shit up. The first song I ever learned how to play was "More Than Words" by Extreme.
Oh my God.
I know.
I am sorry.
I know. Well, I mean, yeah, but Nuno Betancourt is literally the dude nowadays because Eddie's gone.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the hardest licks I've ever learned how to play on a guitar. And to this day, I can still play it, but I can't play it and sing it at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just can't, because that's as far as it was a hard song for me to learn how to play. That was the first song I learned how to play. It took me a year to learn how to play that on guitar.
Wow.
And I'm all self-taught.
Yeah. Same here.
I've never taken a guitar class in my life. I'm all self-taught. I've got a bass back there. I've got a guitar. I've got a violin, or a fiddle, whichever you want to call it. I've got a bunch of different instruments here that I use, but it was all just from trial and error. But then I started playing, I got into choir in high school, because where do you go to get girls? Home ec choir, or band. I gave up band in ninth grade, 10th grade.
Oh man. You're just getting started.
Yeah, well, that's where all the creepy shit starts happening. That whole so this one time I had a flute, whatever. Anyway.
This one time at band camp.
Yeah, this one time at band camp, there was a flute in my, yeah. But yeah, so I gave up band and I was playing football, running track and doing all that shit. And weirdly enough, I decided there was going to be in choir, and I just liked singing. And they used to call me Garth Book. You can't make that shit up.
Hey.
And so when Garth Brooks was brand new and his first 7 albums were all platinum, I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I'm a Garth Brooks fan. And then he did Chris Gaines with his freaking Reebok pumps and his freaking cowboy hat.
He reinvented himself, and no, it's no.
I'm like, no. I was done at that point, but I did love his albums, and so I would sing a lot of that stuff. I also was into Rat, Poison,
hair bands. Oh yeah,
hair bands. Hair bands and Led Zeppelin and Rob Halford and all those guys, and
Judas Priest,
Metallica, Judas Priest, Megadeth, all those cool bands. And that was what I wanted to do growing up. I wanted to be a rock star. I'll never forget. You remember the first time? Did you watch the first video when they finally went live on MTV and video killed the radio star?
Yeah, that was the first video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that fucking thing happen. I watched MTV happen. And I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is what I want to do. And when I finally did Dear Mom, the video, I was like, I have reached the pinnacle.
Well, I wanted to, matter of fact, I got your stuff pulled up here, and I wanted to talk about, Dear Mom came out, May 6th of last year? Is when
yes.
it debuted on YouTube.
Correct.
And that, even today, just not even watching the video, but listening to the song.
Yeah.
It's one of them, throat punches, And for people out there that have no idea what Gold Star families are, I mean, that
Yeah.
is the perfect way to tell them, hey, look, this is the real deal. We
Right.
sacrifice, but their sacrifice is a hell of a lot more
Right.
than anything we do.
Right. They get to sit back and watch us die, and all
Right.
we do is die. You know, they get to live with the aftermath of that. And, so, and I've had people walk up to me with, after hearing Dear Mom or watching the music video and be like, man, this song it was such a hard hitter. I just lost my mom like 3 weeks ago. And I'm thinking to myself, and you probably see me say this in interviews, like, man, that's not what this song's about, but who am I to tell that dude or that woman that that's not what the song's about? Like, if that's, to me personally, as
That's his version of it.
Right, my
Yeah.
job is to create something that everybody can relate to.
Right.
Not like I love the fact that we have a bunch of veteran musicians in the world, and there's some really great talented musicians.
Oh, hell yeah.
In the military and
Yes.
and veteran, you like and listen, growing up, I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm sure you do. But growing up, I didn't realize how many freaking Marines and soldiers and sailors and SEALs and Rangers and Green Berets were all like Glenn Campbell was a fucking Green Beret.
Was
Like,
he?
yeah,
Wichita lineman himself, huh?
yeah.
Get out of here.
Like, or he was a Green Beret or a Ranger. He was a soldier. I know that much.
Wow. Yeah.
Gene Hackman was a
Gene
fucking
Hackman
Marine.
was a Marine. Yeah.
Like, like all these cool people were just like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Bob Ross, a freaking combat controlman in the freaking Air Force.
Can you believe that?
Like, who the fuck knew that dude would cut? He could call down a freaking 3,000 pounder and put it in your freaking underwear drawer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Bob Ross. I'm gonna just paint this pretty little tree right here.
Yeah.
And
you're I'm going to call it an airstrike and blow the shit out of it.
Yeah. I'm going to paint this pretty little tree right here, and then I'm going to burn it to hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But all that to be said, like, we have so much talent in our community. But what I try to tell everybody that I experience, because I used to do the same thing, write the story about getting in my Humvee and riding down the road mobile, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Like, I don't write about that shit. I write about it, but I don't write about it specifically. I write about it in general. What's the word I'm looking for? General soliloquy or general. Yeah, one of those words, big English words and things.
Okay.
Metaphors.
Metaphors. Okay.
That was plain. Similes or metaphors. So I utilize that stuff so that those stories and how I feel are relatable to people who've never been to where I've been.
Right.
And, but you'll have a lot of guys who are going to tell you the story about, coming back home and just blah. Hey, man. And I have songs. I've got a song called Welcome Home. And I wrote that for everybody, but primarily for Vietnam veterans because they got spit on the way home. And my job is to tell them thank you, because even after I got home, I don't know about you, but we came into freaking, what was it, New Hampshire?
Bangor, Maine. Was it Bangor, Maine?
Bangor, Maine.
Yeah.
Bangor fucking Maine. We flew into Bangor, Maine.
I know where you're going with this.
And got off the plane. And the VFW and the auxiliary VFW were
lining the concourse
all the way down the concourse. All the way down the concourse. And that was OIF2, man.
Yeah.
Them and their old ladies were all sitting outside in freaking columns, congratulating us coming home.
They would get warnings of when the flights would come in, and they would greet every damn flight.
Not only that, I became a life member of the Vietnam or the VFW for free that day.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
To pay.
Somehow
that's all right.
Well, somehow that has gone gone away. I don't know how that disappeared or whatever, but I did the paperwork, and I was a lifetime member for, I don't know, forever, out in freaking Encinitas, California.
All right.
Like,
Well, take
you
the
know,
people for the ones that have never gone to war and came back. You're deplaning. You're going up the jetway. The door opens, and you see these two long lines of people with flags, and I mean all kinds of stuff. I mean,
150 people,
yeah.
150 people.
What did you think when you saw that?
I didn't know. I didn't know what to think. I was like, I was surprised. I was happy. I was confused. There was so many things going on because I'm still reeling from Fallujah.
Yeah,
You know, the last time I left, when I left Fallujah, I left on a fucking 53 Airbus, you know, uh, a UH-53, and I flew into freaking TQ, spent a week in TQ, went to Al Assad, got on a plane, and flew home. Like,
just like
like,
that.
yeah, like I got off of, we got on a 53, flew over Fallujah, and I still remember the fucking chaff bird coming out. You know, you see all these freaking shards of freaking aluminum and shit in the air, and you're like, wow, that's fucking crazy. You know, and I'm going home. I'm going home. Like, we're getting shot at on the way home.
Yeah.
Right. And so we landed Al Assad, and you know, there's still the, you know, morning reveille with mortar strikes and rocket launchers and blah 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 blah. And then I got on a plane and I flew home. We stopped in Shannon, Ireland.
Yep.
I got shit housed at 7 o'clock in the morning on Irish whiskey and Guinness. I drank so much Guinness, bro. It was stupid. Like, I was double fisted for like 2 hours.
Hey.
I drank a shit ton of Guinness. And then we got home, and it was, the whole world had changed. My whole world inside here had changed because I'd seen the worst that humanity could do to itself.
Yeah.
That's what it all really boils down to. Seeing how ugly humanity can be to itself. It's crazy. So coming home to that, and then coming here and watching people not appreciate what we have, was painful. It wasn't just awkward. It wasn't irritating. It was painful. I still to this day have a hard time when people don't appreciate how good we have it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially the age of entitlement, you know.
This last 4 years, I'm not talking about politics. I don't really care.
No.
I care about culture and environment. And
yeah,
our
social
culture
attitude.
and our environment, absolutely. Yeah. Our social attitude sucks.
Right.
Because for the last 4 years, we've talked about how horrible this fucking country is. And I'm going to tell you right now, this country is the best country you will ever experience. It is literally called the land of the free because it's the freest country on the planet.
That's right.
Period. And people can't see that because they've never been outside of their own little ball.
Yeah, I was going to say, ignorance is bliss in that respect.
Yeah. You've never been outside of your own little ballpark. You don't get to see who else is playing ball.
But you know what? I think, at least in my case, that it's a badge of honor that I got to experience what I got to experience so others wouldn't have to.
Absolutely. I'd do it again. Do it again.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that to, promote myself or anything, but
no, me either.
I believe that we were put in those positions for a reason.
Well, listen, you and I both know that we were the generation that volunteered.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a little moment. I had a little moment with my dad once, and if my dad ends up watching this, I love you, Dad. Just know that we were not okay at first when I first got back because I was messed up.
Yeah,
I was messed up, and my dad didn't understand how to deal with me. I was going to jail. I was, alcohol, blah blah blah, DUIs. Like my last DUI is when I quit drinking. That was here in Texas. When they tell you that you can't afford a DUI in Texas, they mean it.
I will take your word for
They mean that shit. I don't care who you are. They mean that. And thank you for Judge Baker for being the advocate that she is for, vet court. She's amazing. And her whole court system is just awesome. And yes, Miss Laura Baker, you could take that to your next campaign because I will praise you the entire time. But I was messed up, man. I was messed up. I was completely messed up, and my dad didn't have an idea how to deal with that.
it.
And
You
he
didn't
looked at me
either.
and, well, I didn't. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
he's like, why can't you just let all that shit go? I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know how.
I don't know.
I wasn't told
A,
how.
I don't know, and I don't know how.
Right.
And B, if I did, don't you
I
think
don't know
I'd
what the
already
hell I
done
would
it?
do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't you think I'd already done it if I'd have figured out how to fix this?
Right.
And he said something about, you don't think I've ever been scared and this, and that, and the other. And I was just like, I don't know where this is going. And he was like, he goes, I almost went to Vietnam. And I was like, this is not the place, bro. Like, you don't want to have this conversation with
Not
me.
now.
And
Especially not now.
in my head, what was going on was that my dad was about to tell me he was a deserter and I was about to beat his ass in his own store. That's not what he was telling me. But
Yeah.
in my head, as jacked up as I was mentally, that
That's where it was going.
is where I was at.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he was almost drafted and he didn't go. He didn't have to go. But that was a scary thing. Vietnam was not cool. Like being drafted, I don't know that I'd be okay with that either. But I chose to go.
Well, it's funny when Desert Storm came up. I had just gotten out that June or July before January, and
Yeah.
I got one of these Western Union mailgrams that when George Bush signed the executive order, and I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, all right, well, you got me. I mean, I got two
Fine.
choices, could go or not go. And it turns out that by the time that we got all trained up and everything and were ready to go overseas, they'd already fulfilled the commitment
Yeah,
at that point.
172-hour air war.
Yeah, yeah. So, but
That still cracks me. Listen,
war's
everybody
hell, buddy.
deserves.
Even if it's only
Everybody,
172 hours.
if it's 172 hours, it's just sitting in a mop suit, whatever.
Yep, that's it.
But I get it. I get it. And don't get me wrong. I'm not dogging anybody, but
No.
like I have sitting in counseling rooms. This is how messed up I was because Fallujah wasn't Desert Storm, Desert Shield.
No. Oh hell,
Fallujah,
that was
Nazaria wasn't Desert Storm, Desert Shield.
that's a whole new category of urban warfare that we weren't prepared
Absolutely.
for. Yeah.
Bro, we were going door to door, house to house, quarter to quarter, block to block. Like it was a 3-block war. The whole
Taking real estate. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
3-block war. 20 years of 3-block wars, bro.
Yep.
And that was it. That's how we did it. In Afghanistan, we were fighting out in the freaking middle of the Korangal. In Iraq, we were freaking fighting 3-block wars. We were fighting 2 different fronts.
Yep.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And the reality is that nobody gets it because they've never been there and they don't have to get there. They don't have to be there. And here's what I want to say this to every veteran out there. It is not the civilians' responsibility to understand you. It's your job to educate them, but it's not their responsibility to understand you. Your job, in the infamous words of Clint Eastwood playing Gunny Highway, adapt and improvise and overcome was something you and I were taught, not the rest of civilians, not the rest of the society. And it's our job to be able to implement and reestablish a connection to our community. If we don't do that, I feel like that's where all these dead people are coming from.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where suicide's coming from because I know this because I lived it.
Oh, yeah.
I was the same guy.
Yep.
Like, you don't get me. You don't understand me. Fuck you. You don't like, you owe me. Like, no, you don't owe me shit. You don't owe me nothing. I chose to do what I did. And I've had to come to terms with that. and I'm okay with it. I wasn't at one point.
Oh, I was going to say now, yeah. Then
Yeah.
no, yeah,
There was
it,
a long time where I was not okay with just being alive.
right.
I didn't even like going to the grocery store. Like I drove a Jeep for the longest time, and most of the time I didn't put my top up because I wanted to be able to see rooftops and all kinds of cool shit. Just because, you
That's
know,
your mindset. Yeah,
yeah, I want to be able to see what the fuck's coming at me. And it didn't matter if it was raining. Didn't matter. I didn't care. Tops down, whatever. Because that was my mentality. And if there was a box on the road, you don't think I wouldn't miss freaking lanes of traffic to get away from
oh
that
hell,
box? You're dumb.
yep.
I was on the Highway 5 coming from Chula Vista back to Oceanside, and there was a freaking cardboard box on the side of the road. I literally cut 4 lanes of traffic, cut 5 people off, get to the other side of the freaking traffic so I could get past it.
Nice.
Like I cut that many people off, 4 lanes. I was like, nope.
It wasn't road rage either.
Yep, nope. I just ain't getting no close. I ain't getting close to that box. It ain't happening. You know, like it's just not happening. But that's where my brain was at. I was just not in a good place. I destroyed a marriage. I destroyed a freaking, both my kids. Like I was not capable of being a good dad. I just wasn't. Like, have I've always been there monetarily for my kids.
Right. But
But
emotionally
I
and
was
socially, yeah.
emotionally, I wasn't even available for myself.
Right.
Emotionally, I wasn't even available to take care of me.
Right.
Most of the time, I was too busy trying to get myself killed. Like all joking aside, like I
Yeah.
used to
Oh,
walk into a bar and say, "Which one of you sons of bitches want to knock my head off?" Like I'd drink a shot of Jameson and a half a PBR. I'd slam half a PBR, and I'd be like, "Which one of you sons of bitches want to knock my head off?" That ain't exactly what I'd say, but I ain't saying it on here.
that's a Reader's Digest
Yeah.
condensed
Yeah, yeah,
version.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You got to go read the notes for that shit.
Right.
But like I was looking for somebody to pound a hole in my head. And I spent the better part of 10 years trying to figure that out. And then I started playing music and music. I mean, I started playing music heavy. We started a band called Slack Noise. Slack Noise was me, another Navy corpsman, and an active duty Marine and a former Marine. And we wrote some hard stuff. And when I say hard stuff, like I Need to Breathe was one of the first songs I ever wrote. And I Need to Breathe, I wrote outside of a coffee house in Chula Vista, California, because I was having a panic attack. And my friend Tiffany Conley, who was married to my buddy Scott, who I served with, she's a songwriter and great songwriter, as a matter of fact. And we sat down. She goes, "You should write a song about it. Did you bring your guitar?" And so I went to the car, panic attack and all,
Right.
got the guitar, got my little Gretsch Heritage out, and we started playing. And that song was done in like 5 minutes.
Oh wow.
That song was done in 5 minutes. That song is probably 20 years old now.
Get out of here.
No, yeah, it's 20 years old. I Need to Breathe was written in 2004,
Oh wow.
the end of 2004. No shit. So, it was I was not okay. And we wrote some really angry music, and then I left Slack Noise. Started to start another band called Deliberately Broken, which I own the name, so I'm going to continue to make Deliberately Broken a thing. But Deliberately Broken was a band, and then I left Jacksonville, North Carolina, and joined a band called Vetted. And then we were about to become popular, and there was a bunch of stuff going on there that it was never healthy. Like I
Yeah.
was just working on me. And so here I am now as a singer songwriter working on building Deliberately Broken back, and continuing to play music and doing what I do and trying to help as many people as I possibly can.
Dude, that is an awesome place to wrap this up, man. Because this would be a definite part two type thing, man. Because I want to get into the music and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you believe that we've been going for 2 hours?
Dude, I
I'm
just looked at the clock when you sent that message. I was like, holy crap, man. But, and please forgive me, like
no,
it's a
dude. This is your
story.
forum, man. This is you telling your story, man. It's not about me.
I appreciate that. I really do. I do. Well, it's your time as well, and your time is just as valuable as mine. Yeah, you can say that, but I'm going to tell you from experience is that I've learned that my time is valuable. Like we all as veterans know that our time was basically our money, and
Yeah,
it was never ours.
yeah.
So, but now that it is mine, like I definitely treat it definitely different than what I used to. So, my time is my money, and that's just how things are. So I want to tell you thank you. I want to tell you thank you for giving me your forum and let me be a part of your show, man. And I'm glad I've got to know you, man. I really am.
Well, hell, man, we chewed some of the same dirt. We did some of the same stuff, and I mean, it's for me the worst thing is feeling like you're out here by yourself, man.
Yes.
And it's. I mean, hell, I could sit here for the rest of the afternoon, man.
Same,
you know,
same, bro. Like, and to be honest with you, if well, we're not going to do that. But if you wanted to do a part two and you wanted to get into some stuff and like, dude, bro, to be honest with you, I would be honored and privileged to be a part of anything you would like to do. And I told you the other day on the phone that like I would love to just do a show with you if you're interested, whatever that is, whatever you want to do. Like I'm game because like I just want to help people. I'm still a corpsman at heart.
yeah, yeah,
And I will always be a corpsman no matter what. Like because I was raised to be a corpsman.
right.
I was raised to care about people and take care of people. And so I do it, and I do it with the best fervor I have. So, yeah. So thank you. I wanted to say thank you because
Oh,
you
it's
deserve
you know what? It's my distinct honor
it.
to tell you the truth. I would love to have you back on as soon as you can, man, to talk about the musical aspect of your life, the things you've got going on,
Yeah,
and those types of things for people that don't know who Shannon Book is. And
sure.
for those people who don't know who Shannon Book is, where can they find Shannon Book?
If you are on digital social media and all that stuff, that's where you can find me. YouTube, X, blah, 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 Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I hate TikTok. That's where all the sociopaths hang out. Like when I started watching TikTok and there's people just like going live and sleeping on live, and like you're just like,
Because you can. Yeah.
why? You know what I mean? Like, all right, creeper. Like you like to watch people let you sleep? Like, well, I don't know what to say to that. But yeah, so you can find me pretty much anywhere you get your digital music or wherever you mingle digitally, or you can find me wherever I'm playing.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw a shameless plug out for my sister from another mister here. You can find Shannon Book on YouTube, Shannon Book Music, as a matter of fact. If you get a chance, check out the video Dear Mom. It is an emotional roller coaster that I think everyone needs to see. You can find my homeboy here on Spotify. Damn near everywhere there's streaming services, you could find his music. And you can also find him on Facebook, as a matter of fact.
I'm
Yes.
even on Twitch.
Yes, he's on Twitch. And matter of fact, I just started a Twitch account
Yep.
today.
I don't really do much with it. I generally just if I do a live video, I'll do a live and it'll go across all of them because it's just easier.
Yeah, that's it. So, again, I want to thank Mr. Shannon for taking time out of his busy schedule to rap and tell his story. And, I may be the guy behind the mic, but it's your show.
Well, thanks, man.
And,
I appreciate that.
oh, no problem, brother. So, I guess we're going to call it quits here for now. Remember, it's not the fat, the meat, the gristle. It's just the bare bones. I'll see you next time, folks. God bless. We live in the best country on this friggin' planet. God bless
Yeah, we
America.
do. God bless America.
sits on his bed with his gun in his hand. He thinks his life is over, he can't understand. A bottle of whiskey and some pills in the drawer. He doesn't wanna hurt himself or hurt anymore. Why must it be this way? Just think it all over and listen to the words I say. You are not alone. There are so many people who fight with their demons each day. 'Cause you are not alone. So take my hand, brother, let's beat this together today. You're not alone. She picks up the clothes that fall loose on the floor. She finds a crumpled letter just behind the door. Begins to read it with tears in her eyes. A horrible feeling takes over inside. Says, honey, can I talk to you? There has to be something that we can do. You are not alone. There are so many people who fight with their demons each day. 'Cause you are not alone. So take my hand, baby, let's beat this together today. You're not alone. Ooh, you're not alone. 'Cause you are not alone. There are millions of people who fight with their demons each day. Yeah. And you are not alone. So take my hand, son, let's beat this together today. You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. Sits on his bed with his gun in his hand. He puts it away, 'cause now he understands.